Okay, we're here with a pair of binoculars. Our ghost box is on light this time. Anybody here? Anybody wanted to talk to us? Anybody wants to see if there's anything here? Our recorder here. It's there.
My shoulders snapped.
And we're going to record now live. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Welcome. You have been asking me on Facebook where we get things, we're given things. These are all voluntarily done. We don't do them for anybody unless you want us to. Most of the things will be cleansed and cleared, or such as the cane, it would be put into our collection. A meat grinder, binoculars in our haunted artifact collection. The statue, which somebody wanted to know about, you'll have to go up and see that video for more information, but quickly Keith is keeping it as a mementos. So, is there anything here that would like to speak to us? They'd like to let us know they're here. Earlier the EMF meter was going off. There it goes. I want to see more than the first two lights, because I believe that maybe we're 6 feet away from it, but I believe maybe with all the electronics around it, it could go off. The statue readily answered our questions. I don't know what that shadow was. That was weird. There's that walking again.
My foot. My foot did that.
Okay.
My foot's
Don't do that. Let's see what if the walking is walking. It's not that noise. It's another walking noise. It's coming from above us, but there's a roof above us, so I don't know why they're...
There's nothing up there.
An animal, maybe?
Could be a bat in a belfry, or a bat or bird.
Is there anybody that would like to speak to us to let us know they're here?
Sitting in the fluke of the house.
Attachments to this pair of binoculars that they said was owned by a good family member. Regular pair of binoculars. Nothing that elaborately special. That noise, that's not you. That's
My
walking.
belt.
That's walking.
My belt. My belt did that.
No, that noise is not your belt.
My feet.
That's not your feet. Hear it?
Shoes booking down the road.
I don't know. Maybe a car booking down the road.
Maybe a hooker's booking down the road.
Well, somebody's running outside, but I don't think we would hear it up here.
There'd be a hooker walking, clicking her shoes down the road.
Probably. I don't know. We're not going to pay attention to any more of the footsteps because we think it might be either a neighbor, somebody downstairs, somebody outside playing with the garbage again, shifting for the boxes again today. Every day somebody does that.
Out.
Yeah.
Probably Timmy or Jackie's son or the end. Could be somebody in the house.
That's up there. The house is in front of us, 10 feet. That's more like it's above us.
Ain't no one in the room.
The house is that way. Anyways, I think we're about maybe 7 feet away today. I got it on a little zoom.
Horn beeping.
Yeah, the car alarm earlier that happened too. I don't know if any of this is being picked up in the video, but we might as well say it just in case. Okay, we have a few people. 6 people today. I don't know of any of them. Suzanne's with us. Suzanne, welcome.
Suzanne.
Suzanne, you know who she is.
Summers?
No.
Playboy Bunny?
No. That's not funny. She might be. Anyway, she's laughing at that joke, by the way.
Suzanne Summers, Playboy Bunny.
Nobody attached to this pair of binoculars. We hope it was used for enjoyment. It was used for bird watching and nature, which is great. I guess sports. He was in sports. There it goes to almost a high orange. If you want to come through to speak to us, come on through. The ghost box is doing nothing but static. It's
Ghostbusters.
Ghost box is doing nothing but static.
Here it comes the man.
This is what the ghost box is, but it's doing nothing but static. I turned the ghost box up so you guys can hear it more. Hopefully we'll not disturb anything by doing that. Or it's just static. We're not doing anything. Well, I haven't been saying anything. If it says anything legibly, or anything, I'm turning it down. If it says anything legibly or anything clearly, that is what I say. I do not say the garbled and jargon and what we think might be something. I want it to be very clear. Hi. It was a hi again. And a low female, almost child's voice. There are children attached to this pair of binoculars? A child's spirit? We're up to 10 people. Welcome. What are we doing? We are having a session to see if there's any spiritual attachments to a pair of binoculars.
Paranormal investigation into a pair of binoculars. See if anybody controls them.
Keith is live as well if you want to Facebook him or find out some more about us. Do we have a website? No, we don't right now, unfortunately. A lot of static. Goes high and low. I don't know. The PSB 11 I was told does this stuff. I don't think so. I think what you're hearing now is actual responses from it. I don't know. It's not doing anything, and it's acting very weird tonight. But, hello again. Hello, yes, hello. Same time a hello came through, it did have a spike on the EMF meter. Hello. You want to speak to us? You want to talk to us? Is the spirit peaceful, which is with these binoculars? Did you enjoy using these binoculars? Did you enjoy using the binoculars for nature watching? Did you enjoy using it? I'm going to turn the spirit box down so that static doesn't interfere with me speaking, because it's just loud static. It's, I don't know. It does that from time to time with our sessions. Last session it was very talkative, but nothing that I could understand clearly.
Holy Spirit, are you in the hallway? Yes, you are. What are you walking on? Cloud 9? Holy Spirit's in the hallway walking on Cloud 9.
We're down to 5 people. Suzanne likes to come every week. We haven't seen Nick or Gregory in the last 2 of them. Some other people's names here. A Philip. Hello. We have a Michael and a Jennifer. Hello. If you come to more than one of our sessions, our live sessions, and get involved with what we do here, I will include you in welcoming you and doing a shout out, I guess they call it, to you. But a lot of times people come and they go, so I stopped doing the shout outs because a lot of people don't stay every week. They don't kind of follow us, they come and go. What is it? It's a pair of binoculars. We're seeing anything about the spirit that could be attached to it. We were told the gentleman liked to watch sports and nature, birds in particular with it. Very quiet on the ghost box except for the heavy static. And now the EMF meter's going off. Coming through. Don't be afraid if you... There's something else here with us that would like to come through. Last time we thought we had 2 spirits that were trying to come through. With our angel that we had, our angel statue. You can see the rest of our videos here on YouTube. And we don't see that shadow passing by, or they kept saying shadows were dancing around. They're not this week, so maybe it was shadows. I'm not sure. I don't think we're in an area of the house like a porch, enclosed area that's got windows for, we could...
2 porches and 2 hallways.
Yeah.
One to the backyard, one to the front yard.
And then there's a screened-in area, and we're there, so...
Yeah. Part of the fence, there's part fence around the yard, but...
Yeah.
Becky's got, part fence, and people in the yellow house got part fence.
Somebody said the whole neighborhood has spirits, but I don't believe there's spirits everywhere in the whole neighborhood. That's kind of far-fetched. And the person that told us that, I think, is paranoid.
No.
And I'm not afraid to say it. That person has told us some weird stories about this neighborhood. We would be seeing more evidence of the... We would be seeing more evidence of the paranormal if those stories were true.
Evil people.
Yeah. Very quiet.
Quiet neighborhood. It's nice though. It's comfy. It's comfy and cozy and nice, and privacy with the pines, and plenty of big yard space out back. We'll go out back tomorrow and see what's big in the backyard.
The EMF meter hasn't gone back off. Now it does. Now it doesn't. I'm looking for orange on it like it did before. That second green light, the green light that keeps blinking, maybe because of my camera being at a distance. We've changed the distance to our camera. We're about 4 feet away. I try to get different locations so people can see the object and everything. But there's those footsteps again.
Me, my chair creaking.
Not getting this much this week, and yeah, we're down to 4 people. Not very many people came to our live session this week, but that's okay. A lot of people watch our archives, and if you are watching, thank you very much for watching. We appreciate it.
Bugs are flying.
Yeah. There's 2 large millers that keep flying around, but that's about it.
Attracted to the light.
All right. Well, thank you for coming, folks. Thank you for letting us do this, and thank you for joining us.
Night, folks.
Don't forget to rate and subscribe. Don't forget to get involved in our Facebook or our other YouTube videos as you cough.
Just getting over COVID, folks. Like to clear that COVID, been congested for up to a month or a year, and still taking 2 more days of antibiotics.
Somebody online said everybody's suffering from colds. Yep, that's true. It is.
Yeah.
There's that. I just heard the stairs. Is nobody on the stairs? We're having more active. It's more active in the area we're in than the actual binoculars are. Maybe the spirit's more in the area than it is with the binoculars. All right, we've ended our live session. We're just going to go a few more minutes with the binoculars. I believe I'm mentally retarded.
Sure are.
For some reason, I believe I'm mentally retarded. Nevertheless, today's program is going to be about the doll that sits across from us. It is a Raggedy Ann doll. We all know what Raggedy Ann dolls are. We all know there's a famous one sitting in a glass enclosure. For some reason, they think it's evil. They think that it's bad. We will not do the names because we do not want ourselves to get in a legal matter. However, I think it would be pretty cool to see it someday, and that entire museum, in fact. I have seen a friend of mine's collection, and I have a personal collection myself. And Jerry has just joined us this week, and he has just placed a bottle on the table. Is that an Avon bottle, or what is that?
No, it's my haunted object.
It's your haunted object. So this week we're doing
Haunted objects.
haunted items. Objects, items, things.
Objects, items, things, whichever one you want to say.
And several of mine are still in storage. But let's. We just saw the video. From now on, we're going to play a small video of what we're talking about. The object in that video is a friend of mine owns a pair of binoculars that he was given, which he claims ever since he received it, things have been acting a little weird in his house.
What kind of binoculars were they from the
They're
military?
They look military. He claims they're explorers or 1960s model binoculars.
Vietnam War, maybe?
I would say they're possibly military. I don't think I can't tell what military there were, what branch, but they are old. They are an antique.
Oh, yeah.
But Now, the video shows my ghost box picking up female spirits on it, talking. However, we all know that just because it's a female spirit doesn't mean that the voice is not coming through as a female. I did not get a male voice on the ghost box during the whole session.
Yeah, but things can also trick people too. It might not even be a female. It could be a male. It could be a female or a male.
Yeah.
Spirits can trick people into thinking it's a female when it's really a male.
Yes, that's correct. However, maybe it was owned by a female person who was in the war. I mean, women weren't in World War II.
No, but they could have been nurses.
Yes. Females were in Vietnam.
Yeah, as nurses and
The Korean War.
Support staff.
I don't think it's necessarily World War II.
No,
I think it would have been after that period of time.
They're made in the 60s. If you said no, it's definitely not World War. I mean, it could be World War II. You don't know how. You don't know how old they are.
Well, he said it's from the 60s.
Yeah, that's Vietnam.
But if it's not military binoculars, if it's not a pair of military-issued binoculars, it's a fine antique nevertheless. And you may never know who owned it.
It could be from a hunter.
Yeah, he said it was from an explorer who traveled with it. So that means it could have been anything.
Or gone anywhere.
Well, I like to think of those brave, people that go to Egypt or people in the African jungle, exploring the Congo or something.
No thanks.
But it could be anybody. It could be anybody's pair of binoculars from the 60s. I'm not one to know what binoculars are. I'm not one to know how to tell what they are. But they're old. I do know they're old, and I do know they're fine antique. If I had known that before we put them where we put them, I might have been a little more careful with them. Although he uses them he uses them. So, I mean, if you're using them and they're old, they still work. They're in wonderful shape.
I do have an old pair of binoculars too. I don't think they're haunted, but I know they're from the 60s. Maybe I can compare them.
Possibly.
They are very old because I had them given to me by an older gentleman that lived at a place where I used to live before, and he just gave them away because he thought he was gonna pass away soon, and I took them. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll take them.
Now, the object you have sitting here on the table is very unique.
Yeah.
It is a bottle of medicine. It's a bottle of wine. It's what? Tell the folks that are listening what this is.
Winter Safe Kidney, Liver, and Cure. Well, it was like one of those. I wouldn't call them flim flam artists, but it was like one of those.
The medicine show bottles.
Medicine show bottles. It was made in Rochester, New York, so it's from New York, so not too far away from here.
Now the bottle was made there, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like our old swamp root that we have here.
Yep, from the Kilmers.
However, a bottle doesn't look too haunted to me. It doesn't look like it's going to do too much. Unless it holds a genie.
Well, my friend's a psychic, my friend, Ange, and she told me that there's a individual named Matthew, I believe, or Michael. I can't remember which one it was. It was a long time ago, but he had actually died from what he drank out of this bottle. Because back then they used alcohol. So she told me he's attached to the bottle. And he chose to, when we were investigating my home and making other spirits move on, he chose to stay. And I didn't have a problem with him he chose to stay and protect me. So that's why I stole the bottle, and the bottle's still haunted with his spirit. is attached to it because of his death.
Now, for those of you who are watching us, we redid the entire website. I still think the museum's going to be the last thing we get rid of today. So if you want to go up there real quick, you can probably see it for those that are listening to us live. It's just a brown bottle. You'd think there's nothing wrong with it. You'd think there's nothing. Like I wouldn't even know it has anything to do with famous Rochester bottling company.
Yeah.
Now, the Rochester company they didn't make the bottle, did they? Or
Honestly, I'm not sure.
did they just fill it?
I think they just filled it. I mean, I should probably have done the research for it. I just wasn't thinking about it.
Because a lot of those bottles are pretty famous by glass makers.
Yeah.
Bottles were made by certain companies, like furniture was made.
Let's see if there's anything on it. Maybe there's like a...
There'd be a stamp, but the whole front of it's like a stamp. Like the whole thing was, what do you call it? Casing, like molded that way.
Mold.
I don't think they do molds for glass, but
No.
and it's a two-part glass because there's a line down the middle.
Yeah.
Also, the top of it was formed last because there is a indentation, so that means it was formed around the top part of it.
Yeah, it was.
With the crease. So the whole thing was done in two pieces.
Two pieces.
It comes together, and then they made the top, which probably is the form cap, they call it. And they would take it off the thing, and it would just be assembly lined.
And
they kind of do the opposite now. It's all one piece now.
Yeah. And they would cork it instead of obviously sealing it like in a can or...
Well, it does have indentations in the center where it was more than corked. It probably had a metal cap.
Well, yeah, but it's cork and a metal cap. Back in the old days, that's how they did them.
Yeah.
So
Well, what I'm saying
you got
is...
this noise like that.
Yeah, but the top of it there held
Yeah.
the closure to the bottle.
Well, yeah.
Where the other thing held the rest of the... no contents were up in that area.
No.
And in fact, there's a line here, if you faintly see the line,
Yeah.
where they would have stopped the liquid part of it, and then the top part is there.
Yeah.
So it probably came up to here. Does it say how many liters on it?
No, it doesn't say anything about
Because
that.
I don't think they followed any of that stuff back then.
No.
And if you look at modern soda bottles, it's all one big form, and at the top, they crease it for the cap. That's the cap crease right there, the top,
Yep.
the neck,
The neck.
the head of the bottle.
Bottom
And
neck.
then the bottom of it is completely flat from it being on it. And there's also a circle in the middle,
There is a
meaning there is a pole. They probably had it on some kind of indentation, or that might even be a stamp that has been worn.
There's just a D there.
It's very interesting how they make these stuff, by the way, folks. A lot of these old things, bottles, antiques, binoculars in my friend's case, it was very fascinating, to me at least, on how they made these things. But, so what year are we talking with that as well?
I'd say between the year 1885 to maybe 1900, something like that.
So that's almost Civil War era.
Yeah, pretty close.
Cowboy, Western days era there.
Yeah, that's when back then when they used to do that, the medicine.
Yeah. Well, they had all sorts of medicines back in the day, up to the 1950s, I believe. Maybe somebody out there can actually know the years of this stuff. And that's when they started saying, hang on a minute, is this stuff actually going to cure you
Yeah,
or kill you?
because like I stated before, this was back then. A lot of it was alcohol based. It was mostly alcohol with a
Basically,
few
flavored
ingredients.
alcohol, yeah.
A few ingredients that
And that's where the saying came, what doesn't cure you kills you.
Yep.
What doesn't kill you cures you, is because they meant it.
Yes,
Now,
they did.
what was that stuff used for? Does it say a use? Does it have an advertisement in those
No, it
letters?
says kidney liver cure.
Kidney,
safe-
liver, cure.
Safe kidney liver cure.
So if you're having kidney problems, we know today that no matter what you put in your system,
Kidney or liver, if you drink something alcohol, you potentially
probably are going to ruin it even
Yeah,
more.
or
If you're going to the doctor at that point, you need some medications that's going to help you, not
yes.
hide the fact that you have the problem.
And a lot of doctors these days say if you're really bad and you have liver disease that you do not drink or you could die.
Yeah. Now,
Which
with
is,
that haunted item,
yes.
has anything happened? Or is it relatively safe?
I think it's safe. I mean, I do see a shadow in my house quite often. When I have it out in the hallway, in the neutral hallway between my bedroom and the living room. And I have seen a shadow dip across
Yeah, I've seen
when I'm walking. And
something here too.
I think it's him. I think it's him walking.
Whatever I saw was not harmful. Whatever I
No.
saw wasn't evil.
No.
But it definitely was watching us that day, and it definitely knew that I am visiting the place.
Yeah.
Obviously, I have no qualms about sitting here and having the hallway out in the thing, other
No.
than the noises I hear,
Yeah.
which could be squirrels, could be a porcupine, it could be a raccoon, skunk.
It also could be something else. I mean, it doesn't mean that it's the same guy from the bottle, but I mean, it could be my father too, because he was in the military. He would guard things.
Yeah.
It's possible. But chances are it's probably this guy that was connected to this bottle.
Yeah. Now, the stuff I had, you asked me not to bring anything over until we make sure. Most of my stuff I have cleansed. And it's a big thing with me with haunted items is you can collect them, but let's not be silly about it.
Yeah.
Let's clear them. Let's cleanse them.
I just want
Let's
them
make
cleansed.
sure they're safe.
Make sure
A lot
they're
of my
safe,
stuff
yes.
is borderline dangerous. I have a voodoo doll
Oh boy.
with a pin still in it and a name written in some kind of wax on it. I can't make it out. I have some dolls. I have
They're just creepy.
some African art masks that were actually worn for ceremonies. I have a baby's outfit that was given to me. It's an old one. It's a dress, and then there's another boy's outfit that's in a bag, and I keep it in the bag. I'm not gonna release it. Somebody told me the dress is actually worth money, but I don't know about antique clothes, so I have a hat. I've been collecting probably for about 10 years or more now, but I don't get stuff regularly as I used to because I figured I don't got the room, or I had a certain section
Yeah.
of my house where I kept the stuff, and I kept it saged. I kept it. It was almost like a big shelf. If you made a room into a shelf, it was locked. We all know spirits can go through locked doors.
Yeah.
We all
Can go
know
through
demons can
almost
come out of
anything.
locked doors. I have one book that's in there, the Bible. They say it's a evil Bible. I don't know if it is or not.
What is it called?
It's the Holy Bible. But I've kept it in a box because of that.
Why is it evil?
The person that owned it was not a nice man, let's just say that. And he supposedly did Masonic curses with it, which I tend to think the person gave it to me with a story.
He was a Freemason? Is that what you're saying?
That's what I was told. I don't know. The person never gave his full name.
Secret societies.
Well, you know, if somebody hands something to you and say, oh, this person was such and such, there's no way to tell. There is, but I'm not going to go through all that.
No.
I can find out real quick, but I didn't. I just put it in a box, I have another item that is a locket or key or some picture locket that used to have a picture in it. Supposedly the picture burned. There are burned scrap paper in there. But here's the thing about haunted items that we're going to talk about really quickly before we get into the kinds and the other stuff about the spirits. Just because somebody hands you something and says, here, it's haunted, they could have gone to the thrift store.
Yeah.
They could have gotten a piece of paper that's burned and put it in there and said, here's a locket that's burned. They could go into any thrift store, pick up any item and say, oh, the owner's passed away, it's haunted.
I'm very careful when I go into a thrift store or I go into a store like that. Hell, I've even brought a meter with me before I buy something.
Well, what I'm saying is just because they said it was doesn't mean it
is.
Was.
Yeah, I agree with you.
However, I kind of have authenticity about the stuff that I have. We also, which we might as well get into the subject, is most of my haunted items, as you know, are cleared. There's nothing attached to it anymore. Or, if it is attached, it's staying. It's not going anywhere at all. So it's either going to leave and go to wherever it's supposed to go to, or it's going to stay in the item and not ever get out.
You trapped it.
I have one that it's a jar of some sort that supposedly carried remains in it. And it will fog up. It's glass and very decorative. It will fog up.
That's really
and
strange.
You could have writing in it. I don't know. Sometimes it looks like somebody took their fingers and tried to write something, but I can't ever figure it out. It's the most active thing I have. And the second active thing is a doll that actually will change its position. It has seen standing up, and my daughter used to tell me it talks to her. I used to tell my daughter that to leave it alone because she said she was attracted to it. And when she came over to visit, she'd like to go talk to it. Now, I don't think that's weird. I'm in the paranormal field.
It's not weird at all.
But I don't know what it was telling my daughter. I don't know what it is that's speaking to my daughter. I don't know what its intentions were. So I decided to tell it to stop talking to my daughter and to leave. And I think it left because it has not moved, it has not talked. My daughter has no more interest in it whatsoever. She's older now. She's in her teens now, but she has no interest in it. She said, she thinks it's funny that she used to talk to it. Now, this brings up the topic of, can these haunted items be dangerous? Personally, I think they can be. If they're let to be dangerous. That's like, a pair of scissors. Can a pair of lawn scissors be dangerous? They can if you let them be dangerous. And somebody's sitting out there, I can just hear them now having a good laugh about this.
Probably.
Which, I don't think it's a laughing funny matter, because I have seen people, and I've heard countless of stories in this field, where people have been injured, harmed, neglected, more or less is the word for it, because of the item. Now, we all know the famous one, and we have one sitting over there.
A replica of it.
Well, it's a Raggedy Ann doll.
Oh, yeah, but it's still a replica.
They're all the same.
Yeah.
And dolls, and Raggedy Ann dolls especially, Barbies are the second most doll. And then we have what they call mama dolls, those little ones that you squeeze and they say something. They are the ones that are most haunted. We also have what they call porcelain family dolls that are supposed to represent the family in some way. You name them after your family member.
Yeah.
And they're either given at the time of passing, traditionally, or they're given to the child when they're little, and it's almost like something they played with all their life and they keep.
Yeah.
They are the four main dolls that become haunted. Now, this Raggedy Ann thing, I'm not going to say anything bad about it, that one, because there's not. It's a story, and it's nice that they have it there. But the rest of the Raggedy Ann stories and the dolls in general, some of these stories are downright scary. Some of them are downright, oftentimes, in my opinion, cruel.
I've never really heard too many stories about them, except for the big one.
Well, like dolls will choke the children. Dolls will, like in my daughter's case, talk and say stuff and tell you to do something, and dolls will come alive, and the spirits will jump to one doll to the other. We went to a famous sanitarium hospital, and they had a few dolls in the room, and one was kind of moving in its position. I've heard of other stories where they will.
Was it where I think it was?
No.
Oh.
Where they will kind of, if I may say, change positions or change demeanors, if you will. A doll is supposed to be something nice, and it turns into something evil. But there's other stories of haunted items, dump trucks, little boys, G.I. Joes, the old style G.I. Joes that stood 14 inches high. Again, they're antiques now, but they were said to do some things, walk around by themselves. Cars have, tiny Matchbox cars have been known to just wheel around themselves, or
I've seen that happen.
children will say they're playing on the floor. You'll see the cars moving around because whatever it is that's attached to the car is playing with the other living human being, child. That's most of the spooky cases.
When I was younger, in this my house, I had seen something like that. Like one of my toys went off for no reason in the middle of the night. Being that now I know what I know about the house, it makes me wonder if it was a haunt. My house was haunted, or the object was haunted.
Let's play devil's advocate here for a moment. A lot of these toys have what they call electronic factors to them, all these parts.
Yeah.
And in the old way the batteries were made, the power could still be to the toy. It cools down or heats up. We all know that saying, or they used to tell us anyway, so we wouldn't get scared as kids that if something cools down to the night air, it'll move.
Yeah.
Wood and all this stuff. Well, the electronics would go off the way they were made and touch each other in certain points and make the toy go off.
Yeah.
However, like you just said, being in this field, we know of other things that would happen. I was told a story the other day. He's working, and where he works, they, collect used items. And one of the dolls just starts talking.
That's strange.
Randomly to another doll or another toy. I'm going to say they're toys. And the dinosaur toy was on. No batteries in it whatsoever, and it's on. And now somebody's saying, yeah, right, well, here's what happens. The energy from the spirit causes the toy, the electronics, to react and come on.
Yeah.
But as you both know, this is the problem with that theory. I and you both know, and every other investigator listening to this program knows, and people that have listened to our shows have knows, because we've talked about it often, that it may not be quick. The ghost, the spirit, the demon, whatever it is going to use energy, do it, and go.
Use the energy manifest.
So how does the toy stay on for 5 minutes in a bin? Just sitting there lighting up, going out, and then lighting up again.
It can't.
Is something playing with it?
I believe that's something.
Or is its electronics messed up? Which I don't believe it's electronics. He said the electronics are messed up. That's why they're there in the first place.
I don't believe that the electronics
because nobody wanted it. It's the land of unwanted toys, like in Rudolph, of misfit unwanted toys in that department where he works. And he says a lot of times the dolls will come on, the toys will come on, the TVs will just blink and go to snowy, weird stuff. And I kind of beg to differ with him that there might be stuff going on.
It might be stuff just going on where it is. It doesn't mean that the object's haunted.
I kind of believe that some of these instances that I've heard him tell me about. We were talking before, knowing that today's show is about haunted items. He was wondering if some of these things come in with something, and that's why somebody got rid of it.
Well, yeah, I think that's very possible because, like I said before, like every time I buy something or I check something out, I make sure I feel it. I get a feeling for it. If I have something like, if it's a bad feeling, I don't buy it. I don't touch it. I don't go anywhere near it anymore.
Now you bring up a good point here.
Just walk away.
That maybe we should tell the listeners how we do this. How would somebody get a feel for something? Is it I just find out the old-fashioned way of using my electronics, or somebody tells me it's haunted because they've had something happen to them. A lot of times it's not normal. And when I mean not normal, I don't mean always scary, but something. They see the doll move, they hear the doll whispering to them. I have an African art mask that they said that it would sing or make musical words somehow in another language. I have another one that was a voodoo doll. Obviously, we know that's not something it's electronic. It can come on, or you would know if it has a spirit attached. There's some skeptics that listen to our program, and I was skeptic. I have a tarot card deck that they say is haunted. How can a tarot deck be haunted?
There's a lot of ways it can be haunted.
Well, I'm saying right off the top of someone's head.
Whose deck is it? Is it your deck or is it a deck that you purchased?
It was given to me.
Yeah, exactly. It was given to you, so you don't know.
I don't know the history about it at all.
No,
I put it away and said, okay. About 50% of the stuff I have been proven to be haunted, yes. The other 50% of it is said to be haunted, or we checked it out and there's something they're not telling us about it.
Yeah.
Like the one car, they used it on a Ouija board to see if it would drive around to the letters and stuff. And I didn't know that when they gave it to me, but it moves on its own. It has this faint, weird smell to it. I have tried to wash it. I've tried to bless it. But if it was used in that fashion, then I can, it's a vessel for the other side, so to speak.
Properly dispose of it.
Well,
or
I kept it.
Oh, you kept it.
I have, or did have, before the glass broke mysteriously. All we know is we heard a crack in the room, and there was this mist that we took pictures of. And I used to take pictures of all the objects. I used to use my, like I said, the gear, or paranormal investigation gear with them. And that shows that video at the start of this program.
Yeah.
Which we're going to start doing. However, maybe about 30%, 35% of the stuff I've collected in some way has been given to me without a story. And I say 35% because people have said, here's something, I don't want it anymore. Maybe you're interested. Well, why? What's wrong with it? Oh, it's haunted. Well,
okay.
It immediately will go in that room I had a wooden box I put the stuff into, all together. I didn't care if they were all together, because my theory is if all these things are together, maybe they might get acquainted with each other and tell each other not to do stuff.
Maybe.
It's silly,
It does sound kind of silly.
but it has worked. So after it went in that box for a week, I would then go in there, see what it is, see if I could find out history as to what it is. Like the G.I. Joe figure. It's a G.I. Joe figure. It's from the, early 50s, 60s. It might not even be a G.I. Joe figure. It's a male's
yeah, G.I. Joe doesn't go
army figure.
G.I. Joe doesn't go that far back.
I call it G.I. Joe figure because the clothes look like
I
the
get
G.I.
it.
Joe stuff.
I get it.
But it's a army doll for a male, a boy, which was given to me and said that they don't want it in the house anymore, without an explanation. I have a doll given to me the same way. In fact, almost 80% of the dolls I have were given to me and said, we don't want this anymore, there's something wrong with it.
I've done some cases where I've been given haunted objects, but I disposed of them though.
Now let's
I
go
didn't
into
keep
this. When
them.
you say dispose of, you mean throw away, get rid of, burn? I mean, there's all sorts of stuff I've
never
heard, and
thrown
some of
away.
it I disagree with it. Why would you
I've
burn
never-
something
I've
if
never
it's an antique?
I've never thrown it away, but maybe I'll bury it.
And what does burying do? Because, like I said, whatever's attached to it can go right through the dirt and out.
I know
Or
it
not.
Well, I know it didn't work, obviously, but I burned it. I've done.
Well, for the listeners, what's the theory of this burial thing? Because these people probably are thinking we're crazy burying toys that might be worth some money, because I know the army figure is worth money.
Well, basically, the way I see it is, it's not a theory. It's just out of sight, out of mind. You don't think about it; it's gone. I mean, that's my reasoning behind it. I mean, I didn't just bury it and stick it in the ground.
What I was told is it's an earth
protected it.
element, and the
Yeah.
earth will suck up the energy
Yeah, that's
and
what
almost cleanse it or keep it so
Yes.
it can't do anything more.
That's what my theory was. Well, that's what I've been taught.
Which I do believe that might be a theory, because a lot of people have buried stuff for reasons of that nature.
Yes. I mean, I have a couple friends who are Wiccans, and they told me to bury the objects.
Yeah. However, I have seen stuff that I've buried that's absolutely strong, and then cursed or made worse the area they're in.
I also consecrated the ground when I did it.
Yeah. Now, let's, for the listeners, go through this procedure of what we're talking about, or any procedure. So, let's take the army guy, for instance, or the car, or whatever we have. Let's, we get an old Pepsi bottle, or whatever. What is the first thing we want to do? For me, the first thing to do is
Smash it, probably.
figure out if it's really on it.
Well, yeah. But,
Figure out if this person's telling the truth.
yeah.
And if they are, what condition is it in? Most of the stuff I've been given are used, like somebody's played with it, somebody's used it. It's not off the shelf type condition.
Yeah.
A lot of times it is old. A lot of times you can tell that it's been in a generation of families, maybe.
Yeah.
I want to see the condition of the person. Are they upset? Are they, like the one girl was in tears and
Their
wanted me to
psychological-
take it.
Their
and,
psychological state.
yeah,
To
and
read what-
told me to get rid of it and didn't tell me anything about it. I still don't know what's in it. Don't know what's wrong with it. Put it in a box. One of these things, just put dolls in and keep them. It's a plastic case thing. That I was given a few of them for a few of my dolls, because I was told, if nothing else, because I have a friend that doesn't believe in all this stuff.
So I don't know. I
She
blame
said
them.
if nothing else, they are antiques and they're worth money, so keep them in nice condition.
Yeah.
So I have a few of them in them.
I don't like burning antiques either. I respect historical stuff and
You know,
antiques, but
saging them.
yeah. See, I've saged them too.
Asking, coming out and asking if it's something.
Yeah. I mean, there's been a few times when I haven't had a psychic. I mean, I can feel things, I can tell, I can touch things and get a feel for what it could be. But when I haven't had a psychic for a couple times, I've just disposed of it because I didn't know. Yes, I get a really funny feeling from it, and it would sometimes they would scare me. They would freak me out.
Now, when you dispose of it, and if it's bad, okay, because we're just assuming it's bad when it might not be.
Yeah.
Which
But
I don't really like to say stuff is bad
No,
because
but these
there's
objects.
collectors out there that are listening to our show. I know two of the people that are saying, you guys are nuts. You're getting rid of stuff that could be potentially money. And I've done that. I got rid of something and down the road found out through watching the television for these antique shows on TV or other stuff that it might have been worth something.
Yeah.
Haunted or not, it's
I
an
know.
object of value.
No, but these objects are not like they weren't like heavy antiques. They were just, you know.
In this case, this was. And the reason I got rid of it is because this was an old music box,
I
or
wouldn't.
supposedly a music box of some sort.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't.
And it
dispose of
played
like
its
that.
own music, but it played it backwards.
Wow.
And it played it when the button was broke,
Wow.
and it would pop open and start playing.
Wow.
Which kind of, at the time, freaked me
Freaked you
and my
out.
girlfriend out.
Yeah.
We had just started a family, and my ex, now my ex, at the time we were, just, and it made her feel very uneasy, so I said, all right, it's going bye-bye. And I took care of it. And properly. Not going to say how I did it because I don't think it was, some people might not agree. No, let's just say it's not coming back. And I kind of wish I didn't do it because if nothing else. But
Yeah.
we also have to understand if this thing has an attachment and it is sold or given or whatever, then that other person is in danger.
That's exactly.
Or
what
are they? Because
That's why I did what I did.
nothing might happen. I've gotten an object where the person told me a whole story. In fact, I put it on my shelves. I liked it that much. It was an old dagger. And I got something to put it in case to display it. And I
Yeah.
said, done nothing. The story is just out there. It's out there. And I displayed it. Nothing's ever happened.
My
Just
bu-
a unique dagger. It's a curved dagger. It's in storage now. I wrapped it up and I'll display it again.
my
But
bud-
supposedly it had done something and another tale of something else and used as a ceremonial whatever.
Yeah.
But obviously no threat to me.
My buddy collects knives. He's a really close personal friend of mine, and I know for a fact that he has a haunted knife. And it's not a dagger, but it's from World War II. It's a Nazi dagger. His grandfather his grandfather was in the German army, and it does some very weird things in his house. So.
Oh, I've heard of weapons doing stuff. I've heard of helmets.
That's why he's got it locked up in a safe, and he never takes it out.
Now, here's another story we keep talking about for the viewer, because I know they're going to wonder what we're talking about. When we say locked up, I mean blessed, cleansed, Locking up goes a little further than that. It's supposed to contain the
Yes.
item
Yes.
and whatever is attached to it. Now, I've spoken that it can get out of the container. However, there's ways of keeping it in there, which we're going to talk down the road about this stuff.
Yeah.
We're not going to get into it right now because I don't want anybody doing anything wrong. When we prepared for this show today, we talked very heavily on what we were going to talk about as far as this stuff of blessing and ritual stuff that we do. Because if it's done wrong,
It can have very bad consequences.
it can have the opposite effect sometimes. And also, if it's done wrong, it'll have no effect. And if it really is serious,
Yeah.
which I have 2 things in a glass case that is sealed with wax, and it's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere. And if I could put them under lock and key, they probably would be in a room by themselves, locked. So whatever's in it can just stay in there like its own little cell. These things were given for bought off the internet on eBay because people are foolish and buy this stuff on eBay, which we're going into our next topic, is how do we acquire this stuff if you're interested in collecting. Well, I and Jerry talked about this topic, about talking about if you're interested in collecting, and I'm going to say this. We're going to leave it at this. If you want to collect and you're interested in this stuff, write to us and we'll talk to you about it, because I'm not going on air and saying stuff and then having something happen because nobody's done it. It's kind of like walking a tightrope. I'm not going to tell you how to get the tightrope. I'm not going to tell you how to put it up.
It's too dangerous.
If you want to go out and get some rope and tie it to 2 different things
And hang yourself.
and walk across it, then you go right ahead and do that.
Or hang yourself.
Well, I've never seen anybody hang them on a tightrope.
Well, I'm using it as...
Yeah, walk across it and fall off and get injured. That's your problem. I'm not going to tell you anchoring. I'm not going to tell you what kind of ropes to use. I'm not going to tell you what kind of stunts to do while you're up there.
I'm using it as an example.
Unless you come to us personally and talk to me about it. But if you're so hung-go on collecting, here's 2 things I want you to understand. You have to be ready for the unknown. You have to be ready for the odd, strange, unique stuff to happen. And the second part is you got to have a safe place for it. You're not going to just put it on the top of the shelf and have all your buddies come over and use it as,
That's my haunted objects. Look at
yeah,
that.
in your Dungeons and Dragons den. And, on the football games, come over and brag that you got it up there on the shelf.
Dungeons and Dragons and football games?
Well, I mean, what do you call them? Man caves? Whatever.
Man
to us,
caves.
they were gaming dens where we went and played Dungeons and Dragons.
Not me.
Our room, our own,
What, when you were younger or right now, currently?
If I could have one now, I definitely would. But, there's rules I got to follow.
Well, yeah, I know.
But, and the ex did not like it. But, remember, they got their own little reading chair over there, so...
My girlfriend's
God forbid if you messed up the book in the reading chair, right?
My girlfriend's got her she shed.
Yeah, or shoe shed, yeah, the clothes shed, whatever shed they got.
Yeah.
And we can't have our own little room, that's...
She never said I couldn't.
Yeah, well... Mine laid some rules down.
Not mine.
Anyways, but here's another thing about collecting, is with anything. What's the authenticity of what you're collecting? Figure that out too, because I could hand you anything. Oh, this doll I just bought at Walmart's haunted. And I know people who have bought haunted items to find out they've been jinxed, tricked, hornswoggled,
at Walmart, though?
bluffed online
Oh,
or anywhere.
Online, yeah.
Somebody says, I got a haunted item, I want to get rid of it, it's for sale, and you buy it, and they got it at the thrift store, and guess what? There's nothing about it that's haunted, so you might as well either invite something in it yourself, or just put it up on a shelf and have some fun with your friends on Halloween, because there's nothing to it.
I mean, I think I might have a couple other haunted objects. I just never really checked.
Yeah,
Never...
and it brings it down to the fifth thing about collecting is you're going to get looked at as weird. I mean, some people I know of will not come over to the house because I have that room.
Yeah.
I have these things. No, I'm not going over to his house. He's got weird demons running around his house. He's weird. He's crazy.
Well,
but I know people that are just as crazy at collect model railroads. In fact, one of my friends, his wife divorced him because that's all he paid attention to.
Wow.
You're down there with your model. Well, I'm the same way with Dungeons and Dragons and collecting role-playing games. But you know what? I'll come out of the cellar after 5-6 hours of playing, and we'll go to the mall and take you on a date and whatever. I'm not all the time in front of my models, and that's my world. And I kind of have a budget line of what I'm going to spend. I won't, not be able to pay the mortgage because I wanted to go out and buy some trains.
The paranormal is my hobby. Well,
yeah, but you're not spending thousands of dollars on haunted items.
No. I spent money on quite a bit of money.
Some of those railroad models can go to $200 per little train. If that's the case, I want a real train out there I can ride around in my yard.
And I mean, I do like to buy historical things too. I mean, I love to buy antiques. This bottle was actually a birthday present from one of my friends from high school. So
yeah, as well as collecting. The biggest thing is what to do with it. You're going to have to build some things to keep it.
Shelves and stuff.
Well, above and beyond that, if you're going to collect historical items, and you have your Civil War hats, and you have your other 2 World War II helmets up there on the shelf and stuff, or memorabilia or whatever hanging on the wall, when you get a haunted item, you're going to have to buy a glass container. You're going to have to buy something to secure the thing in. You're going to have to take care of it. I tell people that some of these haunted items are cared for like it's a pet. Check on it. Make sure things are right. Make sure, double check. Sage and double check, on a schedule. It's not like you just put the little war helmet up there, and whoever comes over gets to see it. No, it's a little more than that. It's a responsibility of making sure this thing doesn't get out. And another thing on that note of getting out is, what do you do if it does? I've never had something escape. But I've heard stories of things happening.
I have too.
I've heard some stories where that gets pretty bad.
Yes, it can.
I kind of equivalent to keeping a rattlesnake. If that rattlesnake gets out of that enclosure, do you have anti-venom for when it bites you?
Nope.
Well, most people don't carry anti-venom with them. Or it's in the freezer, and the snakes... they're in the room somewhere. Are you not going to go in the room till you can get the snake out? Well, it might make your life a little harder. And these are things people don't think about.
No, they don't really.
They like, what's his name? Oh, you got a haunted item. Yes. Can I see it? Yes, it's in the case. Oh, can you take it out? And I can say, no.
No way.
And don't get that close to the case, and don't smile at it. Pretend it's a monkey. You're not going to smile at it. You're not going to jump up and down. You're not going to make funny little noises, because if that thing decides to do something, you're not going to like it.
No.
And I've heard it is like having a scorpion. I forget the kind they are. The yellow ones that are about,
Yeah.
4 inches wide, 4 inches long, and 2 inches wide. It's like keeping one of those. You don't stick your hand in there. If you got tweezers and it grabs the tweezers out of your hand, the tweezers are staying in its cage.
Yeah.
You're gonna be throwing a roach across the room into the thing. Make sure you know where it is during feeding. There's care that the average person doesn't want to do or has to learn how to do real quick with these items. And I'm telling you this because some of these people are laughing at us right now.
Probably.
They're saying you're comparing this to keeping dangerous animals. Almost.
In a way, it is.
I've seen dangerous animals kept in less conditions for safety than this. I've seen the after effects. I've seen the psychological effects. I've seen the what do you call it? The emotional state of somebody who's under possession or control of a spirit that.
The spirit's under the controlling them. You mean?
Well, the item has caused whatever is in the item has caused the person to react, and their emotional state. I've never had it happen to me. I've known a few collectors that have changed their moods. Their
Never happened to me. So.
Yeah, their state of being, if you will, for the worse because of whatever they have tried to collect. And now let's go to the good stuff real quick about collecting. You get to some interesting stories and meet some interesting people.
Yeah.
If nothing else, the people you meet is almost sometimes the fun part. The objects sometimes are old, unique, things you may never have come across unless you were collecting. You get to help people in some cases.
Yeah. Helping is a big thing.
Yeah. You get to make sure somebody's safe in a way by taking it out of the environment it's in.
Yes.
And another thing is you get to, I don't know the word, make sure that it's not going to harm anybody else. The harming factor of somebody else is gone.
Well, it's helping people. That's what we
Well,
do.
you're keeping many safe. Not just that one person, many people safe. And I'm not exaggerating, folks, when I say this. I'm not sitting here exaggerating when I say some of these spirits that are attached to stuff can harm many people. We have personally seen, both I and Jerry have seen families destroyed because of things. I have seen lives destroyed because of something that was in something or decided to get out and live in the home.
Okay.
What's the other thing? What's that other word they call it? The habitat, the atmosphere
The atmosphere of the house.
has changed because of it, or the atmosphere in the living quarters.
The feeling.
Yeah,
Atmosphere.
yeah. The such people, the way they live had to be changed because of something. And leave it up to the professionals. The show is probably going to be a real short one, but it is something that we deal with. It is something that if you need help, please contact
Please ask us.
Doesn't matter where you are. We can have somebody in your area help you. It's closer, but please do not hesitate to email us, call us, if you think something's there. And if you need it taken out of an environment or out of somebody's home, we will take it. We will help you.
Yes.
I realize there'll be some people that will be fooling around. I'm saying this very seriously. If you honestly need it taken away, I have paid mailing shipments to get something safe. I have made sure that the object was destroyed properly, as you can say it, or the spirit was released from it properly where it would not do harm. The entity, actually, in that case. And one more quick thing about this is it can happen to anybody.
Yeah, it can happen to anybody.
It doesn't have to be the enthusiast of the paranormal. I'm sure, Jerry, in your long existence of doing this field, you have seen a lot of people in different walks of life suffer because of what a spirit or entity or demon has done.
Yes, every walk of life, not just.
Yeah, we're not talking just certain people.
Not just paranormal investigators. It happens to everybody.
It's something that should be taken more serious than it is.
Well, there's a lot of people who don't believe in the paranormal.
Well, yeah. Well, not just that, but people don't believe that what can happen.
Yeah, exactly.
What demons and entities and negative spirits and the evil of this world can do.
Yeah.
And I have never, I mean, your case is one of them, but I have never seen a good spirit that's been attached to something cause harm.
Yeah.
I've never seen, like in your bottles case, that nothing's happening.
No.
Once in a while, seeing a shadow figure, like you said, it could be a relative, it could be him, but nothing as harmful is happening. So, but on the other side of that, there are things that could happen.
Yeah, I always keep that in mind.
And we're getting to the top of the hour here. It's a very short show this week. www.twintiersparanormal.com. You can write to us. You can find our contacts up there. We just redid the site to make it easier for people. There's more evidence up there. There's some of our cases.
It's better organized.
People have requested that we put some of our cases up there.
Yeah.
And we have a museum. We do not know if we're going to take it down. There's a lot of stuff.
Yet, so.
Well, we would like to do it a little bit better than just showing the pictures.
Yeah.
And for right now, we need to write up everything about the stuff and the stories behind the stuff and take pictures. And that's the hard part, is getting the pictures to you. If people don't mind words, we could, write out a doll or an army figure. But I would like to have a picture for, I would like to see a site with pictures and stories to stuff. And how to write the story so it's not scary to somebody that doesn't know. But again, www.twintiersparanormal.com. And we'll see you next time, folks. Thanks for listening.